I was still dripping wet, covered in soap, when I saw her standing on my lawn. Pink tracksuit shining like a warning sign. One hand on the water valve, the other holding the T-shaped key like a sword. "People like you are used to washing in a river," she said, smirking. "That's how my peaceful Saturday morning turned into a suburban war." Let me back up. I'm Marcus Reed, 35, an architect who finally thought he'd made it. My firm had just landed a huge city library renovation, the kind of project that changes careers. I'd been working late nights for months, barely sleeping. That weekend, I just wanted to breathe sleep in, cook something ridiculous, and take a long hot shower until I forgot what deadlines even felt like. So there I was, finally relaxing, water cascading perfectly, steam rising, my mind clearing. And then it stopped. Just a sputter, a gasp, and silence. Nothing. I stood there covered in shampoo, waiting. 1 minute, 2, nothing. I thought maybe a city water main broke. Then I looked outside and saw her. Linda Haverly, president of the Maple Ridge HOA. Mid-50s blonde bob so sharp it could cut glass face set permanently to disapprove. She's the type who treats the cul-de-sac like her personal kingdom. And right now she was standing on my property shutting off my water. I threw on a towel and ran out soap still clinging to my skin. "Excuse me," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "Did you just turn off my water?" She didn't even flinch. "I'm doing this community a favor," she said. "You're a month behind on dues. Rules are rules." That hit me like a slap. My payments were on auto pay. I had the receipts. "That's impossible," I said. "Everything's paid. You have no right." "Oh, I have every right," she cut in, tapping the HOA logo on her jacket like it was a badge of authority. "Delinquent accounts affect property values. I'm preventing an emergency." It was such an absurd, smug lie that I almost laughed. Instead, I just felt heat rise in my chest. Turn. It. Back. On. She laughed, a soft, tinkling sound that made me want to scream. "Oh, I don't think so," she said, twirling the key on her finger. "But call the cops if you want. I'll just tell them you came charging out half-naked, threatening me. Let's see who they believe." And that's when I froze, because I knew she wasn't bluffing. She had the perfect script, ready me the angry, half-naked black man. Her, the frightened white HOA president, doing her job. One wrong move and my life could turn into a headline. So I just stood there, fists clenched, towel slipping, and felt something I hadn't felt in years, pure helplessness. In my own front yard. I forced a smile that probably looked more like a grimace. "You win," I said quietly. "For now." Then I went inside, locked the door, and dialed 911 before she could. When the officers arrived, she launched into her rehearsed story right away, all trembling voice and fake concern. He was so aggressive, officers, I feared for my safety. But this time, I was ready. I showed them the payment screenshot from my phone, the bank records, the emails. One of the officers, a calm woman named Chun, checked it and turned to Linda. "Ma'am, this looks legitimate. You had no authority to shut off his utilities." Linda's face drained of color. But the bylaws? "The bylaws don't override state law," the officer said flatly. "Turn his water back on, now." Watching her twist that key back into place was one of the most satisfying sounds I've ever heard. Water gurgled back through the pipes, a victory song. But when she looked at me again, her smile was gone, replaced by something colder, hatred. I knew that look. This wasn't over. Monday morning proved me right. An email from the HOA, 3 violations: lawn damage, unapproved foliage, and public disturbance. Total $800 in fines. A line at the bottom, failure to pay may result in a lien on your property. I laughed out loud, then realized it wasn't funny. She was using the system itself to punish me. Paper bullets fired from her little suburban throne. I tried ignoring it, but the isolation started creeping in. Neighbors who used to wave now crossed the street. I'd catch curtains twitching when I walked by. It wasn't just about water anymore, it was about control. For the first time, I wondered if I should just move. Sell the house. Start over somewhere that didn't reek of fear and fake smiles. But that thought made me angrier. Why should I be the one to leave? So I called a lawyer. Her name was Sarah Klein. 40s, sharp, calm, the kind of person who chews injustice for breakfast. I told her everything. She just nodded, already forming a plan. We'll hit back. Cease and desist for harassment complaint to HUD for discrimination, and a demand for full financial disclosure from the HOA. If she's this bold, she's hiding something bigger. She was right. A few days later, an old man from down the street knocked on my door, Harold Bennett, the former HOA treasurer. He handed me a manila envelope. She rewrote the bylaws when she took over, he said quietly. I kept the originals. You might need these. Inside were the old documents, simple democratic, nothing like the dictator's charter Linda had pushed through. And mixed in with them were financial reports. I passed them to Sarah, and within an hour she founded a landscaping contract worth tens of thousands of dollars, paid by HOA funds. The address listed Linda's house. I felt the blood drain from my face. She wasn't just abusing power, she was stealing from everyone. Sarah grinned. She's using HOA money to landscape her own property. That's embezzlement. From there, it was like pulling a thread. We found inflated budgets, shell companies, and foreclosure records that all led back to her husband's LLC. She'd been fining homeowners into bankruptcy, then buying their houses cheap through him. My little water dispute had just uncovered a criminal enterprise. We took it to court to force full disclosure. Linda's lawyer tried to stonewall, calling it a fishing expedition. The judge didn't buy it. When Sarah presented a photo of Linda's koi pond paradise next to the HOA invoice, the courtroom went silent. The judge looked at her lawyer and said, "You have 24 hours to produce every document, or I'll hold you in contempt." The next day, we got 12 boxes of records. Inside, proof of hundreds of thousands of dollars stolen through fake maintenance shopping sprees, even her own property taxes paid out of HOA accounts. She'd been bleeding the neighborhood dry for years. It was bigger than a lawsuit, now it was criminal. But Sarah had another idea before going to the police. "Let's show the community," she said. "Expose her where she built her power." We went door to door with copies of the evidence. At first, people were wary, scared. But, as we explained, anger replaced fear. Within days, 40 out of 50 homeowners signed a petition for a special meeting. That Thursday, the clubhouse was packed. I'd never seen so many of my neighbors in one place, all whispering, glaring toward the front where Linda sat with her 2 loyal board members. She looked tense, but confident, like she still believed she could talk her way out of anything. She banged her little gavel. "This special meeting is now in session. I assure you our finances are perfectly in order." "Then explain this," Harold's voice boomed as he projected the landscaping invoice on the screen behind her, followed by a photo of her backyard waterfall. The room erupted. "That's an invasion of privacy," she shouted, face pale. "Paid with our money," someone yelled back. Sarah stood up, calm and steady. "We have court-verified financial records proving embezzlement, fraud, and misuse of HOA funds by the president and board." Slide by slide, she laid it all out. The fake invoices, the luxury purchases, the foreclosed homes. When she showed the photo of an elderly woman whose house had been taken and bought by Linda's husband's company, the room exploded into chaos. People were shouting, crying, calling her a thief. Linda tried to speak, but her voice was drowned out. The fear she'd ruled with for years had flipped, now it was hers. Harold raised his hand and called for a vote of no confidence per the original bylaws. Every hand in the room went up. Unanimous. Linda Haverly was officially removed. And then the doors opened. 2 police officers walked in, followed by a detective holding a folder. He looked straight at her. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for embezzlement and fraud." The sound of her gasp was almost lost in the noise of 50 people whispering at once. Watching her get handcuffed right there under the same fluorescent lights where she'd once humiliated others was the closest thing to justice I've ever witnessed. Her husband stood frozen in the back, saying nothing, just watching as everything they'd built on lies crumbled. The detective turned to me afterward, gave a small nod. "You made our job easy," he said. And just like that, it was over. No cheering, no celebration, just silence, the kind that follows a long storm. I walked home that night and turned on the kitchen faucet. Clear cold water rushed out steady and strong. I let it run for a while, just listening. After everything, it sounded like the purest thing in the world. People think revenge is loud. It's not. Sometimes it's quiet, it's the sound of water flowing again after someone tried to take it from you. Lesson learned. Power built on fear always collapses, but truth always finds its way back to the surface.